IVM.
Hey guys, even though Elon Musk is trying to turn everyone into robots, you'll be happy to know that very real human beings work at IVM Podcast, and some of them are even cool. How do I know? Well, listen to their own podcast, IVM Likes, where they recommend what they are listening to, watching, or reading. Catch IVM Likes every Monday on iTunes, Stitcher, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And may I recommend the IVM Podcasts app.
Hello and welcome to the Geek Food Podcast. So I have a special announcement to make. First of all, I have Tejas here with me.
Hey!
Say hi, Tejas.
Hi, Tejas.
Tejas, today is our 200th episode.
Yay!
Today is the first podcast of the rest of our lives.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you very well could say that every time we do.
3 years we've been doing this.
3 years we have been doing this. We just figured out in December that we celebrate an anniversary.
Yeah, this is a bit of a cheat, by the way. This basically is happening so soon because we started doing the bulletin.
But 1 second, I don't think it's a cheat, man. We do 2 episodes a week. How is that?
It is kind of a cheat because he said, what if the year goes like twice as fast? Suddenly my birthday's here sooner.
Yeah, so
it's like people who celebrate their half birthday.
Who's complaining
I know
about
someone
this?
who celebrates their half birthday.
What's a half birthday?
It's like when you're 6 months from when you were born.
That's silly.
That's the worst.
That's like the Kerala birthday.
I mean, I even have a problem with people who do a birthday month thing, but I know a lot of them.
What's birthday month or birth month?
Yeah, it's like
celebrate your birth month.
Yeah, it's August. Oh my God, my birthday month is here.
Dude, some people love their birthdays, man. What can I
mean,
say? They love that they were born. Their lives must be so amazing. They're just like, yes, I was born. Yes.
They're all wrong. They suck.
But there's something that I do like about birthdays. Not my own, just Geek Fruit. I enjoy that we started this thing and we're 3 years in and now we're episode 200.
Yeah, we're both not birthday people, but we do care about Geek Fruit's birthday, I suppose.
Yeah. And I just want to say this, that, you know, I also like the approach we're taking, which is... it's dirt off your shoulder, man. It's all
it
good.
happens. This is like the odd one. It's like when you turn 23. It's not a big deal. We'll see.
Or 200.
Or 200. Yeah, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
We will do something special soon. But today, we're celebrating by doing a completely different show from our usual show.
Yeah, that's true.
We're going back to one of our most celebrated franchises, Whack, as it's popularly known.
Is it known as... Is it popularly known at all?
I called it Whack once. But this is our sub-franchise called What a Cartoon, where we talk about animation in general.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of started as a lark, right?
A lark.
Yeah, as a lark. We were having a lark.
Yes, it's true.
Are you having a lark?
I'm having a lark, and here's why. It's because we love cartoons. We've always loved cartoons. I think it started out of like a bit of like aggression, which is where people used to say, "Oh, cartoons today suck, man," and then I was just like, "No, you suck," and here's why. And then we did like all the episodes.
Correct, but now we're talking about like well-beloved cartoons and stuff, and we're talking about a particularly special medium today, which is stop motion.
Yes,
so that should be fun.
I can't believe we have more episodes to add to this series.
There's so many kinds of animation.
We have more after this?
Much later. I
think?
think we've got some in the can.
Yeah,
We've done DC, correct?
We've done DC, so you know what's left.
We've done Pixar.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Then
we got Marvel.
Then that's a big one because the original MCU is, of course, those Sunday Marvel cartoons.
Yeah, of course. So. No, we got a lot to go through over there. However, I just want to recall an email that was read out on the previous episode that we weren't there for. But Tushar is the one who said, "Hey, thanks for reminding me of all the great cartoons we contributed so much in shaping our childhood. What's your current take on cartoons in India? Do you think the quality has gone down?" And they responded. I don't think Abbas or Janam or Jishnu kind of are very much into cartoons. So they were talking about like Chhota Bheem and stuff. But a good cartoon I would recommend watching is the Bahubali cartoon on Amazon Prime. Which,
correct.
I've seen like more than a few episodes of.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. And it's got a decent story. And definitely worth checking out. I don't know that many cartoons from India, but that's definitely one I would...
Yeah, I don't know if you can say that the quality has gone down. If anything, it's gone up, man. I feel like we have more cartoons now, which is great.
It's a good
thing.
Right?
What were Indian cartoons that you remember from growing up? Not a lot, right?
We didn't grow up here, so it's another problem that we had.
But we saw Indian stuff. I don't remember. I mean, the big thing was like Disney R, which is Western cartoons dubbed.
And then like the one other cartoon I can remember. Yeah, that's all the dubs, right? But the ones I remember was this. There was one called Roll Number 21, which was about Shri Krishna, who was in school. And
I got one more in the can, which is Aladdin.
Go.
Always sounds surprised. He's like, "Arey genie, tum idhar." He's always surprised. He's shocked by anything that happens. Like the carpet fly is like, "Kaleen, tum ud rahe ho."
But these are all things that he could generally be surprised by. But you have to say something mundane that doesn't need to have surprise in its title.
Okay,
in
it's
its
like
emotion.
Arey, रेगिस्तान में रेत है. There's sand in the
ये लाश
desert.
मरा हुआ है. There has to be a CID Aladdin crossover. Anyway,
Jafar, तुम evil हो?
Okay, cool. So
Genie, तुम Will Smith हो?
you've given the definitive take on Indian cartoons here. I feel. But yeah, definitely check out rule number
Played
21.
by Nasir.
Who's Nasir?
He was the guy who played Aladdin.
Yeah, you just
He was
inverted that sentence.
He was an actor who you'd recognize him if you saw him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
Sorry, we were talking about cartoons in India.
Yes, Bahubali. All right, let's move on.
Bahubali. Stanley's Chakra is
Stanley's Chakra is also another one we've
mixed,
watched.
I would say. It's not
great.
weird.
I'll tell you why. It feels like they've taken the panels from the comic book, which is what it originated as, and kind of flash animated it or something.
You do get Stanley's voice saying Mumbai, though. So
Mumbai,
that's
the
something.
city of dreams.
I think it's only getting better, man. There's so many more cartoons. People are trying a little more stuff. There's some weird little subgenres. Like there's these. A lot of them are mythology based. I think because parents basically go like, "Oh, kids are watching God's cartoons. Please watch. Please
That's
watch."
how they kind of bent that rule.
That's how they scammed it. But Chota Bheem has nothing to do with like mythology.
And Chota
He's just
Bheem's
a dude.
He's a bit of a rascal.
He's a scamp.
Okay,
he likes having a lock.
He's having a lock. There's another cartoon, or well, if you are interested in animation, some friends or common friends of ours have gone and kickstarted, or at least I think they crowdfunded an animated film called Wade, which is about it's like it's a short animation on basically how the Sundarbans have kind of flooded and they've been destroyed, and how tigers have now inhabited the city of Calcutta. And the animation is amazing, and it's definitely worth checking out. At least some of the clips are on YouTube. I don't know if it's released officially, but it looks incredible. And that's the kind of animation you want to follow. Like all good things in India, follow the independent subcultures version of them, and you will find something great.
It's always better. Be an early adopter.
Let us move on.
To, is there more viewer mail?
Yeah, I think there is one more mail.
People who have viewed our podcast.
Did you have a response to Sudeep's mail from last week?
I do. I have responses to multiple things there. Yeah. Now, so this man, Sudeep, I'm not entirely convinced he exists, but
he does exist.
He has a problem with me. He hasn't liked me from the start.
No, he only just started listening to the podcast.
But he didn't like me from the start.
That's true.
Hurtful. Do you know Sudeep as well?
I do know Sudeep. I've met him on occasion because of Jishnu. He's Jishnu's friend he's like his old friend, so they go way back. I know Sudeep has been responsible for some of the star screenings, the secret screenings. For those, I appreciate him. He has moved on to greener pastures since then. But yeah, he's a cool guy, man.
I didn't like him from the start, though. From the start, obviously. Here's my question. He said maybe it's because Dinkar can't get his numbers right.
Right.
I got my numbers wrong once.
Okay, I think that was if you said it twice, that would have been great, because then you got that wrong.
I got my numbers wrong like 7 or 8 times.
But here's the thing.
I trumped those numbers. But also, this is the most inaccurate show there is.
There is.
We threw out random numbers all the time.
There was a lull at the end of that sentence, which means it was a jest.
He was having a lark.
Right?
Also, he's friends with Jishnu, who couldn't get the number of a year correct.
That's
okay. This is a man who can't tell the difference between 2017 and 2018. So you can't like Jishnu and not like me because of numbers.
He's obligated to like Jishnu. They're all friends.
Here's my theory. This plays into it.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who listens to this podcast that Jishnu is my best friend.
Correct.
I've announced it multiple times on this podcast.
Yeah.
Sudeep's jealous.
Got it. I get it.
He's sowing some discord here.
Nice. This is the civil war of Geek Fruit. All right. We have one more mail. Sudeep, you're fine.
Yeah.
But I also want to say that it's almost near impossible to not like Dinkar once you meet him. If you hear him on a podcast, he's absolute crap.
I'm an asshole.
Anyway.
I said it's our 200th episode. Who knows if it is? I can't get my numbers right.
All right. We have one last mail from Shivang.
The budget for this podcast is 4 times the budget of Robot.
Welcome to 2019, guys. That goes out to Jishnu.
Yeah.
Thanks for making 2018 awesome. Is Indiana Jones back to the franchise an episode possibility? Also, which one's your favorite Indiana Jones movie? Indiana Jones
is from, Sari?
It's from Shivank.
Oh, hey, what's up, Shivank?
he
We should. I feel like we could do that. I still haven't seen the new Indiana Jones, which
Crystal
is like
Skull?
Crystal Skull,
So
yeah,
I've
which is
seen-
what,
I'm a
6 years old at this
I'm a
point?
huge Indiana Jones fan, and my mother.
I was never majorly into it. Jishnu is, I suppose.
Yeah, I think so. Of course,
Vaguely, but
he's short round.
you know
in the
what's
end.
weird? Yeah, but that's because he was named Short Round,
Yeah,
right?
but I'm sure he had to find out his origin story
Yeah, I
at some point.
suppose
No,
so.
but yeah, Indiana Jones is one of my favorites. It's my mother really got me into it because she's such a big Harrison Ford fan, and I had this DVD box set when I was a kid growing up, so I saw all those movies like multiple times over as a
Really?
child. Yeah. So I'm a huge fan. Amrish Puri is there in it. He's
Yeah.
Mola Ram.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's amazing. I love all those movies like to death, and we will definitely do an episode once you guys kind of watch it. I think there's a new Indiana Jones
No, I
coming out.
mean, Jishnu's seen all of them. I just
Actually, we
haven't seen
could.
the latest one.
We should do one maybe
Relatively.
in 2020.
Well, is there a reboot in the
That
works
is,
or
yeah.
something like
It's
that?
supposedly Harrison Ford's last Indiana, but that's what they said.
Oh, so
about
it's
the
a
last
sequel, not a reboot.
one. No, they oh, it's a
What
reboot?
happened to talk of Chris Pratt becoming Indiana Jones?
Yeah, but why?
I mean,
You can't make.
you're gonna reboot everything at some point.
No, I think it's unnecessary.
It's the era of reboots.
They should make a new character and do something else with it. Isn't Shia LaBeouf? Anyway, we'll give.
Shia LaBeouf is.
he was in the last one. Anyway,
he's just
but
doing it.
I will say this: Indiana Jones definitely a possibility. We will get to it. In fact, we're going to be doing a lot more like cooler episodes this year. We're really excited about.
Cool.
All
All
right.
right. Let's talk about one last thing before we take a break and then get to the main topic of our
Hit
episode,
me,
which
dog.
is give me your Bandersnatch rebuttal. So, Bandersnatch was discussed on this very show
Man, we
last
can't
week.
do this so quickly. We need to do a full episode on it.
A full episode
maybe
where
a
we
bulletin.
counter everything that was said last week.
I cannot have disagreed more with everything that was said on a Geek Fruit episode.
I know, right?
Yeah, like I don't know.
It's weird that all three of the people on the
Janam
show
et
last
you,
week.
Janam. My gosh.
So,
Okay. But,
Janam, Abbas, and Jishnu discussed it,
Yeah.
and I know for a fact that our take differs remarkably from
Yeah.
theirs.
Yeah, because I really loved Bandersnatch. I think it was really well made. I think, and here's, it brings to light a new question in my mind, which is that, there are different types of cinema and can be appreciated for different reasons. And I know our thing has always been like story first, narrative first, which I still think Bandersnatch does a really good job of, considering it has a gimmick at its very core.
Yeah.
But I think there is something to be appreciated in the design of this entire thing, the construct of this. And I
Correct.
don't think there will ever be a better choose your own adventure. You know why? For the same reasons we love Into the Spider-Verse, right? Into the Spider-Verse, the very notion of the fact that there are multiple universes and there's each universe can have its own design, have its own like animation, things like that, play into the very story of it. When the design and the story meet each other halfway, and like the way like something that I love about that movie is like the moment he gets his spider powers, suddenly we see his thought bubbles in like little comic strip kind of like panels, and something that is so remarkable about that is that they have met the two worlds like perfectly. The design makes sense. Like when the opening credits come and they, morph into different versions of the titles, that makes sense because it's all about different universes.
Yeah,
Similarly,
the format ties in and the stylistic treatment ties in so well to the story that they're telling. Right? That's what Bandersnatch does as well.
Exactly. Bandersnatch, its very story is about the nature of choice, and that is why it'll be a formidable kind of, what do you call it, piece when it comes to the choose your own adventure.
I
Because
feel
the story
like they
is
can,
about choice.
maybe we will iterate more, right?
Yeah.
Like now, whoever makes the next choose your own adventure piece will be building off of this. I think what I see what the issues were that our gang had with the episode last week, but I think the filter that you use to look at this has to be different. You can't read it as a movie and you can't read it as a game. It's a new thing.
It's a new
format.
And I love it, man.
And you can't, it's not a one and done because choose your own adventure books have been around for so long, right?
Yeah.
And it's still possible to do really exciting stuff from it. Like the first choose your own adventure I ever saw was like a Goosebumps choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
And part
and then
of the
Neil
fun.
Patrick Harris's autobiography.
Correct. But doing multiple run-throughs of a story and then like figuring out different endings is also part of the fun. Like Ryan North, for example, a hero I speak of more and more every time, has done choose your own adventure versions of Shakespeare stories.
Correct, yeah.
So there's a To Be or Not to Be is Hamlet in choose your own adventure form, where you can do like all sorts of things, including ending up in dinosaur times. He crosses over with other Shakespeare characters.
Amazing.
Or you can read it through and literally just read Hamlet.
Yeah.
Of course, told in like his typical very very contemporary style, but that's part of the fun of it. So it's a different medium. Nobody's gonna read To Be or Not to Be, a choose your own adventure Hamlet story as Hamlet, right? So don't measure it by Hamlet standards. It's a new format.
Exactly, it's a new format, and there's something I also disagree with them about, like, you know, the characters. I think that there's something poignant in the fact that he loses his mother, and then, you know, there's an option where you can still choose to be with her, and then, like, thus ending the story. You know, like that. Every choice had a different genre almost.
Yeah, I feel like that was my favorite ending. That was a bit of a shocker.
That was a sad. Like, it was really sad. And you know, there's something that is amazing about this is that you know how the score of the game or the piece is measured is by that guy's review at the end, right?
Yeah.
And like, it's almost always the case where the worse your character's ending is, like Stefan's ending is, the better the review.
Yeah.
So you can't get a good review for the game and also have Stefan's life go the way that he really wants. So it's like it's a completely Black Mirror-esque kind of way of presenting this thing, which I think is genius, and it's amazing. And you know, it's something that reveals itself to you as you keep playing that thing. Oh no, but I don't want to chop up, you know, this person, or I don't want to, like, I want to make it easier, I want to have a sane life, but then your game is going to be shit. And that's like, that is heartbreaking, man. But it's a choice that you kind of figure out later on. The worse you do as Stefan, the better your game is going to be.
Yeah,
which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, I think that sort of thematic thinking about it is crucial to consuming this episode. You can't just go like, well, it was this kind of story.
But it's the same thing like Mission Impossible. Like, you know, like, why, you know, I was talking about it when we were doing our 2019 review, and I was just like, man, Mission Impossible, and now there's going to be like 2 more. Holy crap, I am so excited. But I think, you know, it's not, you have to admire that type of cinema. It's not, it cannot always... Tell me this, does it always have to be about story and narrative? Like, I mean,
I think so. This previous Mission Impossible didn't have to be, right? I do feel like they'll have to do something different this time around.
Yeah.
I'd like them to change it up.
Man, if they're doing 2 movies and they've had, what, like 6 months to discuss the possibility.
There must be a reason for that, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing there's a reason they're shooting it back to back. And it's not just because Tom Cruise is going to fall apart at some point.
It's actually one movie, but they were just like, he's going to break foot or leg.
I can picture Tom Cruise literally just breaking. Like, he's doing one of his famous running things and like an arm falls off. Like, gone. Tom Cruise is done.
And so for that, they have to divide.
That's when like Xenu descends from the heavens and replaces him with a new Tom Cruise. Exactly the same in every way.
Yeah.
Okay. We will talk more about all sorts of stuff, but more specifically, we will talk about stop motion right after this break.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please make sure that you do. We're IVM Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So we did this last week and we had a pretty good response, and we'd like to keep it going. So if you are listening to an IVM podcast, take a screenshot of that, put it on your Instagram story, and tag us with it. And what we'll do is we'll repost it on our story so that people get a look at what you're listening to, and people who come onto our stories will get an idea of what kind of things people are listening to. Leave us a comment too, just don't tag us. Last week, we launched 2 new shows. We launched our first Marathi podcast. It's called Golgappa, hosted by a regular on our network, Trupti Kamkar. Actress Shivani Tangsale is the first guest of the show, and she talks about baking, her Everest climbing experience, and her love for theater. And we also launched the Filter Coffee podcast, hosted by Karthik Nagarajan. On the first episode, Karthik talks to film editor Nishant Radhakrishnan about focus group screenings, OTT platforms, and the future of the Indian film industry. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus is joined by writer Devang Pathak. He talks about what drove him to start his own blog, What's That Funny, and why critiquing the Indian comedy scene is important. On their 100th episode, the Football Twaddle guys answered questions from listeners while twaddling about David De Gea's amazing performance. On the Kannada podcast Thalle Harate, the hosts discuss how AI and machine learning is influencing our lives today and its potential for the future. On Advertising is Dead, Anshulika Dubey, co-founder of Wishberry, talks to Varun about running a crowdfunding platform for creative projects in India. And with that, let's continue on with your shows.
Welcome back to the Geek Food Podcast. Let's get into the meat of this show, Tejas, which is stop motion animation.
Right.
Oh.
I want to start with a question. Have you made a stop motion animation?
Of course. I went to film school, didn't I?
So did I. Yeah.
Actually, it's not even film school. It's more like if you have a camera and you go like, chal na, stop motion try karte hai.
And then you start with using burst photography, but it's not really a thing. And then like you just have to kind of really just move.
Multiple stop motions, man. Yeah. I've done like the paper kara thing. I've done like, what if your coffee cup was alive kind of stop motions.
I had a lamp.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this lamp is like a character.
Yeah. And then Pixar just
And the
basically
other
had
character's New York City.
Man, but yeah, I think,
and also like people stop motion, which is of course like burst photography.
I think Lego is a big part of it, as kids, one thing I want to start with, which is when I was looking at doing some research for this episode, and I was looking at all the stop motion films that have come out and what have been, the highlights, etc. People kept putting the Lego movie in it. The Lego movie is not a stop motion film. It's an animated film made to look like a stop motion film that fans used to make in the 90s, like, basically with Star Wars stuff or Lego and stuff. There's a huge, collection of fan-made stop motion films with Lego and stuff. It's a time-honored kind of thing, And so when they were making the film, unlike previous Lego films or movies or whatever they used to make straight to DVD or whatever, where the animation would be smooth and the characters would bend and everything like that, they decided to go with what it would look like if they were actual stop motion kind of things and people were moving, which made perfect sense because it tied into the story of the film, which is that these characters are not actually their own sentient things. They're Lego being controlled by humans, like a boy and his father essentially. So that was really awesome about that. So that's
which does make me wonder what they'll do in Lego Movie 2.
Exactly why I'm not that excited for it.
No, I mean I feel like they'll figure out.
They have to change the thing. Is it gonna? They'll
have to move on from it somehow. I look forward to it, but the idea that they created a CGI movie and made it look like stop motion it speaks to the appeal of the format, right? Like just the look of it. There's something that's appealing about it by itself. Yeah. The idea that inanimate things can come to life, I think, is a large part of it.
That's the elemental reason, I suppose. That
and a lot of the fun of a stop motion thing is there's an expressiveness to, especially claymation, for example. Yeah. It's like creating a tiny little universe, right? There's something inherently appealing about that.
Yeah, I think it's also like I think stop motion is how Dada Saab Bhalke also started, right? Like his first film was like a stop motion film of that little plant kind of growing. So I think it's like the 101 to film. Like
is that stop motion or time lapse?
It's time lapse, but like he didn't move anything. But basically, what he was doing is doing one frame at a time is what I mean. And so I think that very basic understanding that film or video is like a series of frames just like put together. Yeah. I think that is what maybe, kids could find, appealing or whatever it is. It's like flip books or, things like that, one frame at a time. So I think stop motion is also kind of like that. It's just that you have to make an inanimate object kind of move and the scope of being able to do like wilder things. I think before CGI could do all these things like amazingly well right now, those worlds were created in, things like
one of the biggest uses of stop motion was, of course, of special effects for the longest time. A lot of the early Star Wars stuff was basically like models in stop motion. Yeah. A lot of Tim Burton stuff. Tim Burton, of course, later went on to do complete stop motion films, but he pioneered the use of stop motion as a special effect.
Correct, yeah.
And of course, all your Godzilla, the Toho studio movies and stuff.
Yeah, the Toho stuff. 1933 Godzilla as well.
Stylistically as well, they really stick out. I think that's why you see a lot of stop motion, especially in like music videos, advertising, so much stop motion. Yeah. Because it sticks out immediately. It's going to be memorable because you're going to go like, wow, look at that. Like, I mean...
It's immediately memorable. Yeah.
It's as someone who has worked in advertising, a number of times I've seen emails like, hi, we want to make stop motion video for a brand. How much will it cost?
Just my arm and a leg.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. Of my life. That's the other thing. Stop motion is incredibly expensive and
to do right.
And I mean, if you want to do it at all, I mean, like it's extremely expensive, and it requires like money, a lot of time, a lot of patience at least, and great design. I mean, half of it is being able to create memorable kind of stop motion,
Yeah, because I mean, like, we could put together our 6 stop motion films. Yeah. They're not very good.
What's the first stop motion you ever saw? Because I remember mine as a kid.
You literally remember the first one you saw?
No, I lost the first one, but at least I remember a character from my youth called Pingu.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that might have been my first as well. Yeah, I can't think of...
Channel 33.
Of course,
Dubai.
Pingu, the penguin.
Pingu, the penguin. Just, going quack quack and walking around trying to just up to his shenanigans. Man, Pingu is like about a story of a penguin who lives with his family in an igloo. It's just so funny. I was just like, man, I was watching one of these stop motion films. There's something really silly about the character. I mean, the characters that they use in stop motion is always almost like, I mean, I always see animals in them, and it's just really funny, man. It's just like really uniquely like bizarre and hilarious. And yeah, Pingu was definitely up there in the...
Pingu was super cute. I remember thinking it was really cool how they'd use different stuff to represent what Pingu do. Like, there was one episode where he pees, and this like pool of yellow clay kind of like comes out and then floats around.
Oh man, awesome.
Now that I think about it, that's kind of disgusting. But
yeah,
also,
it is, but it's a very Pingu thing. He was just like he was
a cute looking penguin, but he was a bit of a jerk.
He was a rascal.
He would constantly be having larks. Of course, now he's dead because of global warming.
Yeah. Oh god, that 10-year challenge. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But yeah, so Pingu is something that I remember. Obviously, another big influence, at least for me, kind of getting into stop motion was Tim Burton. Yeah. So The Nightmare Before Christmas is something that will always come to my mind first as one of the first few stop motion films that I ever saw. Do you remember what was the first stop motion film you ever saw?
Yes, I do actually. Chicken Run is the first time I also really started thinking about stop motion. And Chicken Run is, of course, claymation.
Yeah.
It's, and Aardman Studios who kind of like pioneered the idea of clay animation.
I'd say they are the premier claymation or stop motion studio in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. And Chicken Run, if I remember correctly, was their first feature.
It's still their highest grossing feature.
Yeah, over the Wallace and Gromit movie they did. Yeah. They're, of course, famous for...
There are three, but I think there are 3 Wallace films, like Wallace and Gromit films.
There's one. There's one feature. There's 3 shots.
Okay, there's shots, right.
Which are like half an hour long.
Yeah.
All of which I've seen in YouTube. But Chicken Run, I distinctly remember reading a lot about because it was hyped in a certain way.
And also Mel Gibson was still chill in society's eyes back then.
Yes, correct.
He's in that, right? Yeah, Mel Gibson. Yeah.
He's the
main guy.
The cock,
Yeah.
Whose name I forget.
Yeah.
Oh, Victor? No.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chicken Run is basically the story of a bunch of chickens who live in a farm that's about to be converted into a factory farm.
Yep.
So there's a machine that converts chickens literally into chicken pies immediately. Like chicken goes in one end, chicken pie comes out the other end. Yep. And they all start plotting together about how to get away. And the first thing they can think of is to fly. And they spot a cock who crashes into the fence of their farm and injures his wing. So he talks about, he tries to teach them how to fly, though he can't actually teach them how to fly because his wing is injured, as he tells them. He's like, I can totally fly.
Yeah,
but because my wing is injured, I can't, but I can try and teach you guys.
Very Buzz Lightyear,
very Buzz Lightyear. Yeah. And then of course they eventually get away or whatever, but it's a great movie.
Yeah.
And I read so much about how it was made because there was a lot of features talking to the creators.
Yeah, I think it was the first, it was also really a big cast and
a big cast, yeah.
Was it done only Aardman or was it done in association with some DreamWorks or something? I can't remember.
I think Aardman has done stuff with DreamWorks.
Yeah,
I don't know if this was one of them.
Wallace and Gromit was
with DreamWorks. I don't remember if Chicken Run was.
Even Flushed Away was their first. I think Flushed Away was their first.
Flushed Away was CGI, right?
No, it's stop motion.
Really?
Yeah, and it's amazing.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's one of my
favorites.
With
toilets?
Yeah.
I didn't watch that movie because it's called Flushed Away and it's about
Dude, have you not seen it?
No.
Dude,
I have a thing about toilet stuff.
Dude, it's not about toilets. It's about how he's like a posh rat.
Right.
Hugh Jackman, by the way.
Yeah, but the poster is him hanging on the rim of a toilet seat.
It's not just about that.
Disgusting.
It's like they're in the sewers, like Ratatouille or something like that. But but it's amazing. It's got Hugh Jackman, Kate Winslet.
I remember it being like a marquee
Ian
cast
McKellen, man, and it's I feel like it's one of the underrated stop motion.
I thought it
films.
was about him getting flushed away and then discovering some subterranean toilet world or something.
I mean not toilet world, like
sewers, whatever.
Yeah, and it's got a huge community there. It's really funny and it's really well made. I think it's quite underrated. I don't know why. I don't know if it did as well as Chicken Run. Definitely not, but amazing film.
Give us a toilet rating. Is it because I have a major thing about stuff.
Wait, it's
not toilets, just gross out humor in general. It's the reason I remember that pee thing from Pingu so distinctly above everything else. This stuff stays with me.
You'll definitely not forget Flushed. No, it's a great film. I just think it's really funny and it's really well made and it's awesome. Yeah.
But let's get back to Chicken Run then.
Yeah.
Aardman, by the way, doesn't do stuff with DreamWorks anymore.
No, now they just produce their own stuff.
Correct. But they pioneered this with Wallace and Gromit, of course, and those, I think, really bring home the idea of how innovative stop motion filmmaking can be because they're just spectacular. The way they use the the limitations of stop motion to tell the story is just something else. So they've done 3 shots. One of which is called The Wrong Trousers.
Yeah, then Close Shave?
Close Shave is the other one. And A Good Day or something like that?
No, I don't know about A Good Day, but I think the main film is The Curse of the Were Rabbit.
Curse of the Were Rabbit is the feature. Though, my favorite, personally, is The Wrong Trousers.
Okay, which one is that? I can't remember.
The Wrong Trousers is the one which, once again, features a penguin.
Okay.
So this penguin starts subletting a room from... So... Okay, wait. Just to set the ground, in case you don't know who Wallace and Gromit are, Wallace is basically like a madcap inventor of sorts.
Who loves, like, cheese.
Yeah, who loves cheese, and he likes making stuff. And he has a dog who's much smarter than him.
Super smart dog.
But doesn't speak.
Yeah.
Wallace speaks to him all the time.
And Gromit,
And so the dog is Gromit. And they just get into all sorts of nutty adventures.
Like, really British.
Yeah, there's something so British about them.
It's really great. I love it.
For example, the fact that thing is called The Wrong Trousers. So that cheese thing plays into the first one, which again, I am totally spacing on the name. It might be called something like A Good Day, but they go to the moon.
Yeah, exactly.
And start like eating the moon.
Because it's made out of cheese.
And they meet a very Wall-E-like robot who wants to join them and go back to Earth.
Yeah.
But The Wrong Trousers has a penguin who moves into Wallace and Gromit's house because he's subletting a room. Now Wallace is like, he's completely okay with the penguin, but Gromit is suspicious from the start. And as Gromit goes about his business around town, he keeps seeing these posters for a bank robber who's wanted in like multiple states, who's a chicken. But if you look at the poster, it's clearly the penguin with a rubber glove on his head. It's not even a suit. It's just the penguin. He's put a completely different rubber glove on his head, and everyone's like, oh, I guess that's a chicken. So Wallace invents these pants called Tech-Noir Trousers that basically do a bunch of high-tech stuff. Right. And the reason the penguin moves into Wallace and Gromit's house
is because he wants to...
Yes, he's a bank robber. He wants to steal those trousers so he can climb into a bank.
Oh my god, is this like a spin-off? It's like a Pingu spin-off.
Yeah.
Except that, the penguin is... Oh man, that's cool. I haven't seen this one.
If Pingu was because Pingu was like a rascally kid, he grows up to be a bank robber, clearly, who moves in with Wallace and Gromit.
Correct. Oh man, that's great.
It's one of the best half hours you'll spend in your life watching The Wrong Trousers, so you should definitely go and do that.
Yeah.
Curse of the Were Rabbit as well is just a really
amazing.
Cool...
So good.
They did so well with telling a longer format story, right? The story there is basically there are these rabbits that are wreaking havoc on Wallace and Gromit's town.
I love that it's such a bizarre story.
It's such a weird
all
story.
All the stories are so wonderfully weird.
Yeah. Wallace invents a machine that will basically... hypnotize rabbits into not liking vegetables, so they stop attacking the fields. Yeah. But something goes like a Jeff Goldblum fly situation happens, where he fuses with a rabbit and turns into a weird rabbit.
Yes.
Who so he morphs into a rabbit during the full moon.
And, So the thing about Wallace and Gromit, amazing. Like I don't think Aardman, the studio that has done this, has gotten like a Rotten Tomatoes rating below like 90% or something. I think because all their films are just immaculate. And it's the same reason we've spoken about how Pixar...
I'm sure they're in like the high 90s, like 97s and 98s.
So their last few films, which I just got finally, Shaun the Sheep, amazing by the way.
Yeah?
99% on like...
Really?
And I was just like, sometimes I look at these ratings, I'm just like, 99%, are you sure? And then I watch them, like, that checks out.
I've seen bits of Shaun the Sheep, the shots
the
that
show,
they do.
It was a TV show,
Yeah, it's a lot more child-focused, right? Like Wallace and Gromit
can be watched.
Kids would love it.
But I saw the Shaun the Sheep film. Maybe it's because I'm a child or something. But
of course you are. So am I.
No, but
we have a multi-part franchise about cartoons. Let's not throw stones.
But we have tried to destroy that myth that cartoons are only for.
Yeah, but Shaun the Sheep, if I remember correctly, it's like a slapsticky.
It is very slapsticky,
right?
but it's so joyous and like hilarious, and it's really cute and it's funny and it's this funny kind of, and they've employed a really weird design for all these sheep, right? Like this. So Shaun is obviously the titular character, and he's just like he's a bit like, he's smart, and he's kind of like leader of all the gang, in like all the sheep. But he's not super, like, he's kind of clumsy, makes mistakes and stuff. And he's a perfectly good average hero for this franchise. And in the movie, basically, it's in Shaun the Sheep, there's also a dog, an orange dog called Bitzer. I think that's his name. And Bitzer's job is to kind of just make sure the sheep kind of go to the farm, graze, and then they get shorn. Yeah,
Right.
you know, and by their owner and the farmer. And so in this one, basically, Shaun has had enough in the movie, and he wants to escape, and he makes a plan, and they send the farmer off into this merry chase into the city, and he wakes up and he has amnesia, so he doesn't remember. But over the course of the film, Shaun, you know, fondly remembers him and misses his time on the farm, especially when they enter the city. And if you live in Bombay, you can completely understand that sentiment.
Yeah.
And like basically they hatch a plan to get him back, and it's just really cute and funny, and it's all of like 1.5 hours. And you know, sometimes you watch these films and you just wonder, like, they can pack so much into, and it's emotional and funny and cute, and like it's got
sounds
like
like a-
multiple things going on in it, but like it all fits really well.
It sounds like a wholesome family take on Sheep in the Big City.
You know, yeah, I was watching it with my girlfriend, and the exact same thing we thought. We literally saw the same thing, and we were like, this is like Sheep in the Big City, just a sheep.
A less
shenanigan.
meta version of Sheep in the Big City.
Yeah. Oh man, just really
These
cute
guys can
and
do
funny.
no wrong.
Yeah.
Man. One of my favorite things about Aardman, or like claymation in particular,
Yeah.
is you can see sometimes you can see the little imprints of a thumb that's moved something.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
see like
yeah.
a bit of a fingerprint. That just makes it feel so like tactile and real.
And it's-
that's part of the appeal of the medium.
Yeah, and-
you know someone's telling you the story.
You can tell. But we'll get to another film that has done that even better. But there is one thing which I really just want to say about Shaun the Sheep, which I find really funny, which is that so the sheep's head is like, you know, always kind of pointed like towards you,
Right.
like when you're watching it, and they can move their heads from side to side. Obviously they do that, but like when they're looking at you, I think they found like a design, not like a difficult way for them to express their smiling or like their
Right.
facial features, because you can only see their snout, so you won't be, if they're opening their mouth and talking or saying and by the way, there's no dialogue in this film.
Yeah.
Everything is diegetic sound. It's unlike Wallace and Gromit. There's literally not a single word of dialogue, and
Yeah.
the entire story takes place that way, and it's amazing for that reason. But so when they're talking or making sounds from their mouths, just like diegetic sounds and stuff, they've done this thing where the sheep's mouth will move to the side like that, and even if it always comes off as a weird, bizarre, cheeky smile, because it's like one side of their mouth suddenly leaves their face laterally. I don't know how to explain this without you watching it.
Yeah.
It's so cute and funny that every time they're smiling, it looks like a sheepish smile. It's so funny because they're sheep. But anyway, it's brilliant. I thought that was really, really funny. Also want to talk about Tim Burton. Mm-hmm. Are there any other Aardman films that we have not?
These are the major.
Did you watch Pirates? I didn't watch
No,
that.
I didn't.
That one has like James McAvoy and
That kind
I
of
think-
came and went, right? I believe it kind of tanked because it came out when Pirates of the Caribbean was a big
Oh,
thing.
really?
Yeah.
Oh man, but I feel
It
like
came
it
in
did
between
well, though.
2 and 3 or something. It might have done well. Again, Aardman in particular is like a British national institution, right? People just,
Right.
especially in the UK, love those movies.
Yeah, of course,
So I'm
yeah.
sure it did fine.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't catch it.
Oh man, yeah, they've done like a bunch of like really good films and stuff. Always all worth checking out because they're like unique. It's like its own subgenre of,
Yeah, it
of
really
stop
is.
motion. Like it's its own thing.
Yeah.
Tim Burton, another like
Another subgenre unto himself.
yeah, he's a force to reckon with.
He's
man.
a dude.
Yeah, I think Tim Burton just does whatever Tim Burton wants, and everything he does, whether he wants it or not, looks like a Tim Burton film.
Yeah.
yeah. I just test him.
I mean,
the
Tim
effort that he
Burton
puts.
looks like a Tim Burton film.
Yeah, it's true.
His wife looks like a Tim Burton
Yeah,
film.
man, that's insane, right?
It's
like
weird,
he,
right?
He
Like-
was just like, yeah, the Earth is cool, but I'll just build my own universe. Like
The Burtonverse. He was doing universes before they were cool.
it's so true though. Like if you can string together all his films, like they could all be in even the stop motion films could be
Feel like
in
they're
the,
a part
in
of
the,
yeah, even a stop motion has this Tim Burton-esque quality to it, right?
And he has done like licensed films, let me put it that way, like where he has to take a existing franchise and make it his own. He's doing Dumbo right now, which looks
Yeah.
incredible. Honestly, it looks like the best Disney live action film out of all that have released so far, or at least are to be, released. But even when he did, what was that movie we reviewed, man? The Mrs. Something's foster home for
Oh, yes. Miss Peregrine?
Miss Peregrine's
Yes.
something Crow.
Home for Cool Dudes.
Yeah, something like that. Even that movie, which is a book, and it's not fairly memorable in that sense, but all I can remember is that Tim Burton did it, and it was just very Tim Burton.
Yeah.
And Eva Green is another Tim Burton person. Yeah, so yeah, it's just he has a mark whether it's a good movie or not.
He has a stamp.
Yeah, he has a stamp. Yeah.
Let's take a break and come back and get into Tim Burton and some other notable stop motion films.
Hello, everybody. We have a brand new daily podcast we're working on with Bloomberg Quint. All you need to know provides the top news on business, markets, and the economy so that you can stay ahead of the curve. Tune in every morning on BloombergQuint.com, the IVM podcast app, or wherever you get your podcast from.
Welcome back. So we were discussing Tim Burton just before the break.
Yep.
Nightmare Before Christmas was, of course, his first big one, but he's used stop motion for special effects a lot. I was saying, the earlier stuff he did, like Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yep.
There are literally sections where they have horror effects, which are stop motion. That aren't even trying to be real special effects, right? Like Star Wars did it.
Yeah.
He uses stop motion as a stylistic device,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool.
Which works and in like a PV's big
Yeah,
event.
it works in Pee-wee's.
Yeah.
And, of course, Corpse Bride, which is just such a good movie.
Man, amazing movie. You know, there's one scene which I rewatch quite often on YouTube. Okay, it's when Victor, who's played by Johnny Depp, meets I can't remember the bride's name, not the corpse bride, the one who he's supposed to marry.
Victoria.
Victoria is the one he's.
No.
Okay.
Oh, wait. You're right. Victoria is the corpse bride.
Is the corpse bride,
She's Emily,
something like that.
Yeah.
And it's a brilliant scene. And why I watched this over and over again is for two reasons. One is obviously Danny Elfman is making the score for all these, all Tim Burton films, at least all notable Tim Burton films. And there's this one scene where, so the story of Corpse Bride is where, there's a shy groom who is being, he's going to marry this girl who he really loves, and they're from a different family, and he's going to meet her for the first time, I think, in their house. And the house is like this huge mansion and it's empty. And but he sees like this grand piano, like this upright piano. And he goes and he starts playing a piece, which obviously Danny Elfman has composed. And it's weird and awesome and it's amazing. But the coolest thing is that he's playing the exact same notes.
The correct notes,
The correct notes. And you can see that his fingers are moving, perfectly in time. And it's this long 360 kind of shot. And like he's just playing it because he's like a great pianist, and he's playing, and then he gets interrupted when he meets his bride or whatever for the first time, and he moves and his hands kind of hit the keys, and it's like it makes like a clunky sound,
thing,
but it's so well done. And the moment I saw that, I was just like, man, these guys take such efforts to make sure it's right. I don't even know how they do it, man. Like, how do they know what frame rate to play at? It's
so
crazy.
much work, man. Like the fact that stop motion movies take so long is just the amount of sheer patience and dedication you need. Because I mean, a CGI movie also takes a long time, but a lot of that is like render time and stuff. I'm sure.
Well, at least, it's less physical movements. Like literally, I mean, you're working on a computer and you have tools to help you kind of accelerate the process.
You're literally using crafts and like physical art to tell a story. It's something else,
man. And then there's like there is lighting.
There's a lot of and
design.
There's some CGI involved as well now.
They usually used to do it for like vapor or steam or smoke and things like that, where they would have to kind of do it. But I think they figured it out.
Now a lot of the time, smoke is usually just like strands of cotton that people lift frame by frame.
Man.
Ridiculous. There's this amazing scene from Parks and Recreation where Ben, who's the character played by Adam Scott, is out of a job. So he's kind of losing his mind and just like sitting at home bored, but he's convinced himself that he's having the time of his life. Like he's living his best life. Right? And this character played by Rob Lowe comes in and check on him, and Rob Lowe is like this beacon of positivity. He's just like, so man, how you doing? Like, are you good? And Adam Scott is like, yeah man, I'm having the time of my life. I'm living my best creative dream. And he's like, I've been working on a stop motion film. And so he's like, here, let me play it for you. So he starts it up, and this like title screen comes up which says Requiem for a Tuesday by Ben Wyatt, and then an REM song starts playing, Stand, and the film starts, which is like this one guy, he sits up, he takes a step out of bed, and the film ends. And Rob Lowe looks at Adam Scott and is like, is that it? And Adam Scott's like, oh wait, there's a problem with the file. He plays it again, and it's exactly like a second and a half long, and he goes like, oh my god, I've spent 6 weeks on this. I am wasting my life.
Man, but that's so true. I don't know how, man.
That's how much effort it takes.
How much does it usually, like, they must be in a studio
Chicken Run took years, like
Man.
3 or 4 years of the same story. Like a scene can take a month.
Man, that's
insane,
dedication, right? That's crazy, dude. I don't know, and it costs so much. And if you and they have to keep changing people's expressions. Man, expressions are insanely accurate. Like maybe not in some of the Shaun the Sheep kind of, or like, because they have to
That's
kind of
part
exaggerate.
of the style.
But like even in Wallace and Gromit or something, like, just his funny smile, just morphing into like different expressions. Like you have to change that in frame. Man, it's great. I don't know.
Even the way they do that is kind of nuts, right? They have like multiple faces
that they have to keep
made, that they
putting
like
on
keep
and off.
swapping out.
Man.
Crazy.
Just god damn it. Crazy.
But I think that endless customization that's possible is why someone like Tim Burton is drawn to a format like stop motion.
Yeah.
And
he can
why,
literally control everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the same reason I think that Wes Anderson has at this point made 2 stop motion
Amazing films. Both
Again,
are amazing.
another auteur who controls everything in his frame. Any Wes Anderson movie is a Wes Anderson movie. Right? He invented the style that he's known for, that like everyone tries to ape now.
Yeah.
So when Wes Anderson, who takes real people and tries to make them look as diorama-like as possible, can make a movie just featuring endless dioramas, of course he's signing up for that.
Man, yeah, it was like, pretty much a match made in heaven. Fantastic Mr. Fox is obviously his Roald Dahl kind of adaptation, which I feel is the second stop-motion adaptation.
Of Fantastic Mr. Fox?
No, of Roald Dahl. I think James and the Giant Peach is a stop-motion.
I
think so.
I don't remember. But it might be.
Okay, yeah, so I
I'll
think
take
so.
your word for it.
So Fantastic Mr. Fox, amazing, amazing cast, George Clooney, Gwyneth Paltrow?
No.
Kate Blanchett.
Maybe Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett.
Wait, I'll look up the cast. Jason Schwartzman's in there, of course.
Of course he is.
Man,
great cast and great way to do the story also. Like
it's a different story, right, from the book.
They've adapted
he's
it a little
made
bit.
it a very Wes Anderson story as well.
Yeah.
Like he's made it about like a misfit kid who does weird stuff.
Have you seen that video on YouTube by Patrick H. Scott, where he does Patrick H. Willems.
Yeah.
So where he does, if Wes Anderson directed an X-Men film, and it's just like these X-Men in their original uniforms, and it's just like these flat shots and stuff.
Everything's like center frame, and he nails the humor really well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like someone messes up, and then Storm I think goes like, well, that was funny.
Somebody smokes a cigarette.
The cast is Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep
is Mrs. Fox.
Right.
Yeah, not Kate Blanchett. And Jason Schwartzman, Bill Murray, the Ringers. The Wes Anderson gang.
Yeah.
But
did you catch?
I still think that Fantastic Mr. Fox is the most Wes Anderson movie and the best Wes Anderson movie.
Did you see I Love Dogs?
No, not yet.
So I Love Dogs is great. What an awesome title, because it's I Love Dogs. But but amazing movie. Honestly, I don't know how I didn't bring it up. Is it a 2017 movie or 2018 movie?
It's a 2018 movie.
Man, it's brilliant. I think it is like up there in one of the best films of last year.
I really want to watch it in theaters.
I did. Did
you catch it in theaters?
Yeah, I did.
It came and went so fast.
It really did. Like it was there for a week. I saw it in like Andheri, and like it was like
an afternoon show.
Yeah, afternoon.
Right? That
exactly.
one thing that was playing.
Exactly. And it's weird because a lot of kids came for that movie thinking that. I think a lot of parents said, "Oh, it's a kid," but it's like it's about as Wes Anderson as it gets. It's a really, really funny.
It's Wes Anderson's version of Gritty, dude. Those dogs have like little bits of fur missing. And stuff.
Yeah, dude. It's a real great plot about like I don't know. It's like a nondescript period of time, like maybe in your World War or something.
Yeah.
That I think the Japanese don't. They say that dogs are ruining the city and life and culture.
Banish all of them.
So banish them to an island, and that the whole movie kind of basically takes place there. And it's brilliant.
Trash Island.
Yeah. And Bryan Cranston is there, which is awesome. Everyone, it's brilliant. Jeff Goldblum.
I love when Wes Anderson adds someone to his entourage.
Yeah. Then you know it's on.
You see Bryan Cranston in a Wes Anderson movie, like, yes.
Dude, Bryan Cranston, dude. Like,
he's cool.
You know what's so funny, though? I was watching Batman Year One again recently, and Bryan Cranston plays Commissioner Gordon in that. And Bruce Wayne is played by Ben McKenzie, who plays Gordon on Gotham. Yeah, which is ending.
Yeah. Weird, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't think of that.
Just a strange little connection there. But coming back, I Love Dogs, amazing. It's as Wes Anderson as it gets.
Again, I think if you give him complete freedom to literally place every single leaf in a frame,
Yeah.
Wes Anderson did that shit.
Yeah, man.
And
Honestly.
like he used to he directed Fantastic Mr. Fox again, if I remember correctly, over like 2 years or something, where he was reviewing frames over video conferences and stuff. But he would review every frame and like keep directing animators on what to do and stuff.
Oh, so the director doesn't necessarily have to be there?
I mean,
Because I guess he's written
he
the
doesn't
script
have to
and
be
he has
there
to
for the
design.
physical animation process, but
So
he's
wait,
a large
they just
part of.
execute the film like according to ordinances, like just be
Well,
like,
I can
here's the
see
script, here's
Wes
the set
Anderson
design.
going like, okay, I'm not going to be here for every single frame of this guy picking up a glass. But the stamp of it being a Wes Anderson thing is clearly there. Like, Fantastic Mr. Fox ends with a dance number in a supermarket to like a British invasion song from the 60s. So
Amazing.
how much more Wes Anderson can you make it? Or like the little things George Clooney keeps doing, like the...
Yeah, and there's stuff like that in Isle of Dogs. I feel like Isle of Dogs is like where he used the genre even more to his advantage, like has like weirder kind of moments, like he can do more bizarre stuff. I mean, Fantastic Mr. Fox plays out like a Wes Anderson film with real characters but played by animals.
Yeah,
but this one is kind of like even more
I
suited
believe
for
that
the
was
genre.
part of his thing. Like, he also got more familiar working with stop motion.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of, like, in the run-up to it, when I was so hyped and hoping to watch it in theaters, I saw a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, which is, it's something else,
Dude,
man. This might be the most ambitious stop motion thing ever made.
It's visually stunning also, So it's excellently made, and it's just funny. It's brilliantly conceived, you know, the whole plot and everything. It kind of reminded me of Okja a little bit. But anyway, yeah. I feel like there's a movie that I've yet to watch, but I've heard is so good, called Anomalisa. I don't know if you've seen it.
The Charlie Kaufman one,
Yeah. Have you seen it?
No.
Yeah, I've heard such good things about it.
Yeah, it's a Charlie Kaufman movie, I think, and they've used stop motion.
And
it
apparently,
looks really intense.
it is the the trilogy that he made of Being John Malkovich, adaptation, and Synecdoche. It's like this is the fourth,
a trilogy in 4 parts.
Yeah, this is the one that nobody expected and wanted, but apparently, like, it's as messed up. Like, the first thing I went to check out the trailer, there was like an 18-minute video of saying ending of Anomalisa explained. That's like, okay, cool. I guess this is on.
It's a piece of work, like any Charlie Kaufman movie.
But like the cool thing about that, which is what I was mentioning, where you were saying, you can see the marks of the filmmakers on this. So in this, all the characters have little lines where their faces separate, like for the jaws to move and stuff, and they've left it in intentionally. And I don't know if that may be part of like his puppet master, like his fascination with this whole puppet master kind of thing, which I don't know.
Which has
might
been the
play
case
into the
since
story.
like in John Malkovich, in Synecdoche as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
man,
or in adaptation where it's about the story. Charlie Kaufman is a very meta writer to start
He
with.
is
like
very
he talks about the medium as much as he does about the story.
He is the only person who would be able to make a match for like Bandersnatch. Like when it comes to being as meta as
he
that.
could Bandermatch it.
Yes, definitely. Last honorable mention. I actually want to make a few honorable mentions.
Make it honorable.
The fruity ads.
The fruity ads.
Have you seen those?
Before you even get to that, something that's not even an honorable mention. Freaking Coraline.
Oh right, of course, yeah. Neil
Which
Gaiman.
again,
Who
like
did that, by the way? Who did
the director?
Yeah, the director and the studio. I'm not even sure. Coraline is great, and you know why it's so great is because it is what I love about it, like Fantastic Mr. Fox, is that it's an adaptation of a book, of at least a graphic novel, and the graphic novel has a style, but I don't know who thought of it, but it was such a good decision to take that format and make it into stop motion, because it would make it like even more surreal, especially for the nature of the story. Another great example of how design ties into story. I love that. That's pretty cool.
Laika is the company that made it.
Laika is the same guys who did Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah,
which is amazing. Man, honestly, so many good
movies. Coraline is also, I think, it's legitimately scary at points. Like the sequence where she falls into the other world and realizes how evil it is for the
button-eyed people.
The button-eyed people. So at first, it's off-putting, the fact that they have... which is weird, right? Like, you're already looking at inanimate objects.
Yeah.
But just the fact that they substituted the buttons for eyes... is already a little off-putting. And then when she realizes that they're evil, that like other mother and other father are out to get her, is legitimately kind of scary.
Man,
and these are puppets.
It feels like something that it reminds me a lot of like that Pan's Labyrinth kind of thing, which is like children's horror. Is that a thing? That's like it's like a weird.
Going like, let's freak these kids out. Yeah.
But there's there's something actually really interesting about children's horror, which is that, there's always a good moral or a lesson at the end of it.
Yeah.
Which is like what people can take away. So it's not just like horror for horror's
The message
sake.
of Coraline, of course, is your parents are boring and that's good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just don't be satisfied. Yeah.
Just chill out, kids.
Oh gosh.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
I was there's this I mean, this is a bit of a digression, but Neil Gaiman has this very famous commencement address that he gave at some college called Make Good
I
Art.
have the book, yeah.
Yeah.
Make Good Art, yeah.
Yeah, it was turned into a book
By
where
Amanda
he talks
Palmer.
about how he came up with Coraline.
Yeah.
He was writing to someone called Caroline,
Yeah.
and he made a typo.
Yeah.
So he looked at it, he said, Coraline, that sounds like a name.
Yeah.
And he just came up with the story.
But that's also his thing where he actually that's a lot like the Gilmore Girls story.
Is it?
Which is where Amy Sherman Palladino
So she was what? She was trying to write Lorelai.
No, she went into the studio to pitch stories to WB, and she was just like, here's a story about this. They were like, and then he's like, oh, but do you have any other real ideas and stuff? And she was just like, yeah, there's a story about a mother and a daughter and their friends. And they were like, cool, we'll buy that. And then she was just
Really?
like, shit, I gotta make a story now.
That's amazing. I feel like a
yeah.
story about a mother and daughter, especially a story like Gilmore Girls, which
Yeah.
isn't your average sitcom,
Yeah.
is much harder to sell.
No, and they just bought it. I think it was
Amazing.
the moment. But yeah, a lot of these stories, man, which just happen in that Make Good Art speech, which he does. What I loved about Neil Gaiman is that he's just he's like, I never viewed my career as an actual career with a
Yeah.
ladder. He's just like, I just wrote a list of things I really want to do. Like, I need to write a Doctor Who episode. I want to make a graphic novel. I want to do this.
an
I want to do this.
audiobook, yeah.
Exactly. And he's just been checking it off over the years,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Cool. He's done all of it, man.
Yeah,
He's done literally everything.
That is pretty incredible that he literally did everything on
Yeah,
his
yeah.
list. Because when he gives that speech,
Yeah.
he had just done his audiobook.
Yeah, exactly.
It's insane.
nuts. Yeah, really good. Well done, Neil Gaiman. You're cool. Is he in India right now?
I don't know. Is he?
Isn't Jaipur Lit Fest happening? He's
He
supposed to be
hasn't-
here, right?
Is he already here? He hasn't called me yet.
Oh, okay.
He was trying to type Dinkar and he typed Din Rak and he was like, I have an idea. I gotta make a book. And then
Okay.
Sudeep saw it and he was like, I haven't liked this from the start.
Oh God, you have to let that go. All right. So yeah, man, fruity ads, man. Did you
Fruity
see
ads
the
are-
Pali Agro
yeah.
team went to LA and got this amazing firm to kind of do these stop motion
Fruity's
ads?
always had they've had an aesthetic, man.
Ahead of the
They've always
game,
been
man.
really
They're
cool.
ahead of the game. And
Way
I
ahead
love
of the
all those
game.
fruity ads, man.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Very cool.
That's why, it's such a stylistic departure. It always stands out. Stop motion is really common in advertising. Usha, the tailoring company, had a set of really cool, what do you
Yeah.
call them? Sewing machines.
Yeah.
Yes, they make sewing machines. They had a set of really cool fabric-based stop motion
Oh,
ads.
that's cool. I love
which are
that
really
stuff.
good.
Yeah, that's
Another
good.
honorable mention, one of my favorite stop motion pieces is the video for Fleet Fox's White Winter Hymnal.
Okay, I've not seen that.
It's spectacular. Basically, it's there's no real story to it,
Yeah.
but it's this old man who sort of goes up to this little handle and
Yeah.
starts rotating a crank,
Yeah.
right? And as he does it, suddenly a backwards time lapse starts happening.
Oh, nice.
So the sun starts rising and the trees start growing again. He's in a desert island kind of thingy, and he becomes a young man and he feels the sun on his
Oh,
face and he
damn.
smiles. And then
He Benjamin Buttons.
He Benjamin Buttons. Then he reaches the coda of the song where he lets go of the crank and it starts spinning the other way,
Nice,
and
yeah.
it ends with him as an old man again, and
Oh,
he's just
nice.
okay.
There's
that
some
was
good
nice.
music videos with stop motion. There's another one which I love, which is Flower by Amos Lee.
Correct.
And it's really awesome because they haven't decided to make a full kind of set out of it. It's like paper mache kind of characters, and they've not colored in, so it's just remains as outlines and paper characters, and everything's made out of paper.
Yeah.
And it's just a sweet story of this guy who's walking up this hill, and then he takes a thing and he hang glides off of it, and it's really sweet and
yeah,
amazingly made, and the song is beautiful. So yeah, man, music videos, dude.
Another one. Oren Levy's
Yeah.
Her Morning Elegance
So good.
is so good.
Man, that
has
guy's
people
videos-
and stop motion elements.
That guy's videos are fantastic. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've heard of the Secondhand Lovers, his other
Yeah.
one. Man, that video
Again,
is
a great
heartbreaking
video.
and superb. But yeah,
He's
Oren
a
Levy,
cool
man.
guy.
Dude, Oren Levy did that, and there have been so many rip-offs of that in
Yeah.
Indian advertising.
Of course. That particular technique is where you shoot from the second floor and
Yeah.
have people lie flat and then move stuff around them.
Yeah, I think
and that's been ripped off
one
so
of
much.
those. And again, another good example of how design and it was such a
And-
good way to showcase what a dream might be like.
Exactly.
Somebody in a bed sleeping, and all
and
these things
the
going on.
clouds our little bed sheets folded up and
awesome.
stuff. Or
Really
pillows, if I remember
innovative.
correctly. Yeah.
And this is the every time somebody in advertising or copywriter or a producer sees a really good video, they get so scared. Oh, reference, man. It's gonna become
the reference is going to become the actual thing.
Yeah.
Another cool video of Foreign Lovies, which I just remembered, digression again, but
Yeah.
it's cool, is he's performing Her Morning Elegance again on a late night show.
Yeah.
And a Muppet turns up out of nowhere.
What?
Yeah. I forget which Muppet it was in particular, but it just starts like playing with his hair and stuff, and he clearly wasn't anticipating it. So he's like laughing and like trying to get through the song.
Check this out. Okay.
And then at the end of the song, they hug.
Aww.
Yeah, it's the sweetest. Man, did you see Chance the Rapper on Sesame Street?
Dude, yeah, of course.
It's the best.
Man, here's the
that
thing.
Guy, he is a Sesame Street character.
He is, because he's Chance the Rapper.
Yeah.
Like, he sounds like a Sesame Street character anyway. But the cool thing, even this one was recently on Sesame Street. Who did I just...
They have the coolest people on there
Phoebe
all the
Bridgers,
time.
somebody. But,
Phoebe Bridgers was on it?
Somebody just sent me. And, Jishnu was saying that, one of the peaks that that you've made it is like if you
Is
become
when you're on Sesame Street.
No, he said
Oh,
if
on
you're
The
on
Simpsons,
right?
yeah.
And like Sesame Street is that as well. Like if you've made it onto Simpsons and not being kicked off like Katy Perry.
Yeah.
But, man, that's it. You've
Why
done
was
it.
she kicked off? Too much cleavage or something?
Too much cleavage.
Right.
Yeah. And it was wearing an Elmo shirt.
Yeah.
I thought it was so funny.
Come on.
It was not a big deal. I don't know if it was.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what kids watch.
I'm not a parent.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will not comment
Let them
on this.
take the call.
Yeah, but
Chance the Rapper is cool though.
yeah, man. I'm just glad that Trump didn't cut the funding on people. He did, but like they're still
Yeah,
going
but they're
with it.
still going.
Yeah.
They're on HBO.
Yeah,
right?
I know, and I think they must have tried to go to Sesame Street to kind of cancel it, but they couldn't find out where it was.
Yeah. They're just a bunch of executives walking around like a
Where is Sesame Street? It's like, can you just show me the way to Sesame Street?
Let's circle back to Sesame Street next week and we can reconnect on this.
Can you tell me how to get to Sesame? Anyway, but
One of the greatest experiences of my life was watching Sesame Street live as a child.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, in Dubai?
Yeah, they came there.
Yeah, shit, I was at that show.
Oh my god, so was I.
And I saw the Ninja Turtles also.
Was
Were
it
you
in
remember
which
that?
park was it in?
Not Zabil, no. It must have been Safa. Not Safa Park.
I
Creek
think
Park. Creek
most
Park.
of our interactions as adults have been realizing we've been in the same place as kids.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
It was the coolest.
Yeah. Ah, sweet.
All right. Well, I guess that was us talking about stop motions and then other stuff for a while.
Here's the other thing. Janam says that whenever we are on an episode, we always hit the 60-minute mark. So we're just going to wait for
That's
15
the mark
seconds.
that's the mark. I mean, we have to tell people where they can talk to us.
It's the mark of quality.
Yeah, tell us about your favorite stop motion pieces. There's a lot of little like web shots or like short films that use stop motion that we haven't really talked about, and music videos, so many more of them. So tell us about those. You can talk to us on contactgeekfruit@gmail.com. That's our email address. You can reach out to us on the socials at GeekFruitHQ on any platform.
Yeah.
And
also, we have a Facebook group which is called All Your Geeks Are Belong to Us. It's a big reference to a video game that I'm sure you've heard of. If you haven't,
joined the group, and we'll tell you.
Yeah, so just
we'll send you like a minute-long GIF that explains it.
or just type Geek Fruit into Facebook, and you should be able to find the group.
Or search for All Your Geeks Are Belong to Us.
All Your Geeks Are Belong to Us, and also we'll be posting about the group on our Instagram and our Facebook and stuff. So
yeah, it's a forum where cool people hang out, including us, and presumably you.
Yes,
So,
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
pop us a request. We will talk. All right, bye, you nerds.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to listen to attempt number 15 to record the promo for the podcast Vartalab.
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 All day, all night, Vartalab.
Oh yeah. It's a really nice podcast, guys. It's with me and Naveen, and it has really nice stories.
Yeah, people come tell their stories, ups and downs, fun times. We all cry at the end. It's like a Karan Johar movie, but in 1 hour or less.
Yay.
Yeah, every Monday. Yeah.
Have you gotten yourself a gym membership and shown up only a few times? Are long working hours cutting your fitness goals short? How about you change things a little? Even a small effort can make a big difference. And I'll tell you how and what exactly. Hi guys, I'm Coach Urmi, and on the Kinetic Living podcast, You can look forward to some interesting stories of people who have changed the way they look at fitness after their kinetic journeys. Episodes out every Wednesday on the IVM app, website, and anywhere you get your podcast from.